Are you seeing signs in your relationship that make you uneasy? Do you feel like something just isn't right? Ignoring red flags won't make them disappear. We're diving deep into relationship red flags. Recognizing these red flags early on is crucial. Ignoring them is like ignoring a flashing check engine light. Sooner or later, that engine is going to blow up. You deserve to be in a healthy, supportive, and loving relationship. Do you know that feeling when you try to talk to your partner about something important and they just shut down? They clam up, avoid eye contact, or turn it around on you? Communication is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. It's how we connect, resolve conflicts, and build intimacy. When your partner avoids meaningful conversations, it creates distance and breeds resentment. It's like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. The silent treatment is not just a harmless communication quirk, it's emotional manipulation. It's a way of punishing you for expressing your feelings. Healthy couples don't use silence as a weapon. They address issues with respect and empathy. Constantly shutting you down creates an imbalance of power, and that's a recipe for disaster. Wanting to be heard is a basic human need. Look, we all have preferences, but there's a big difference between having preferences and trying to control your partner's every move. Controlling behavior is a major red flag, and it can often be subtle at first, disguised as care or concern. It starts small. Maybe they make a snide comment about your outfit choice, or question who you're texting. But over time, those seemingly insignificant comments can escalate into full-blown control, dictating who you can see, where you can go, and what you can do. Ask yourself this: does your partner constantly check your phone or social media accounts? Do they get angry or jealous when you spend time with friends or family without them? Do they try to isolate you from your support system? These are all classic signs of controlling behavior, and they should never be ignored. Controlling behavior thrives in silence. The more you tolerate it, the more emboldened the controller becomes. You have the power to break free. Recognize you deserve respect and value. Set boundaries and don't tolerate disrespect. Protect yourself. You deserve to be loved for who you are. All right, let's talk about trust, folks. It's the bedrock of any relationship. You can't build a solid, loving partnership without it. It's like trying to build a house on quicksand. It just won't stand. One of the most common issues is snooping. Going through your partner's phone, scrolling through their emails, or lurking on their social media without their knowledge. What's the underlying issue here? If you need to check up on your partner constantly, there's a problem. Sweeping it under the rug will only make things worse. Communication is key, folks. Have an honest conversation about it. I'm not saying every slight suspicion means your relationship is doomed. We all get a little insecure sometimes, but there's a big difference between a fleeting worry and a gut feeling that something's not right. If you're constantly questioning your partner's motives, if you feel like they're hiding things from you, or if their stories don't add up, you need to pay attention to that. Your intuition is telling you something. Please don't ignore it. Now, sometimes these trust issues stem from our insecurities. We might project our fears and past experiences onto our partners. It's important to recognize if this is the case. Talk to your partner, but also talk to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, a therapist, to get an objective perspective. Because let me tell you, unresolved trust issues will eat away at a relationship faster than termites in a woodpile. Let me tell you something, folks. Words have power. They can build someone up or tear them down. And when you're in a relationship, the words you use matter. A lot. Constant criticism, even in the guise of helpful suggestions, can be incredibly damaging. It chips away at your partner's self-esteem, leaving them inadequate and unloved. Think about it. Would you want to be with someone who constantly puts you down? It's like a slow poison in the relationship. It might start subtly with a snide comment here or a dismissive remark, but over time it creates a toxic environment where your partner feels like they can never measure up. Now, there's a big difference between offering constructive criticism and being constantly negative. We all need a little feedback sometimes. It helps us grow and learn. But there's a way to do it without being hurtful or disrespectful. When offering criticism, focus on the behavior, not the person. Instead of saying, "You're so messy," try, "Hey, would you mind picking up your clothes?" See the difference? One is an attack, the other is a request, and timing is everything. Don't bombard your partner with criticism when they walk in the door after a long day. Choose your moments carefully, and always come from a place of love and respect. Remember, folks, you should be your partner's biggest cheerleader, not their harshest critic. Jealousy. It's a powerful emotion that can rear its ugly head in any relationship. A little bit of jealousy now and then is normal, even natural. It means you care. But when it becomes excessive, all-consuming, that's a huge red flag, folks. Jealousy can turn even the most rational person into a possessive, insecure mess. It stems from insecurity and fear. Fear of losing your partner, fear of not being good enough. The problem is that unchecked jealousy can suffocate a relationship. It can lead to controlling behavior, constant suspicion, and endless arguments. Nobody wants to feel like they're walking on eggshells all the time. So how do you deal with jealousy? Well, the first step is to acknowledge it. Don't try to bury it or pretend it's not there. Talk to your partner about it. Let them know how you're feeling and why. But here's the important part. Listen to their side of the story. Jealousy often stems from our insecurities and past experiences. It's not always about our partner's actions. Building trust is crucial. If you have a history of infidelity or broken promises, it's going to take time and effort to rebuild that trust. Be patient, honest, and willing to work on it together. Remember, relationships are built on a foundation of trust and respect. Jealousy erodes both. Don't let it destroy something good. You know, folks, respect is the bedrock of any healthy relationship. It's about valuing your partner, listening to them, and treating them with kindness and consideration. But sometimes disrespect can creep in subtly, disguised as harmless jokes or backhanded compliments. Let me tell you, disrespect can manifest in many ways. It could be constantly interrupting your partner when they're speaking, dismissing their opinions, or making light of their feelings. It's about making them feel small and insignificant. And here's the thing, folks, disrespect is often a power play. It's about one person trying to assert their dominance over the other. They might put you down in front of others, make fun of your insecurities, or constantly criticize your choices. Remember, you deserve to be with someone who values your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Someone who uplifts you and makes you feel heard. Don't settle for anything less. Now, disrespect rarely exists in isolation. It often goes hand in hand with other red flags like controlling behavior or lacking communication. And let me tell you, it creates a toxic cycle that can be hard to break free from. When someone consistently disrespects you, it erodes your self-esteem and makes you question your worth. You start walking on eggshells, afraid to speak your mind or express your needs. And that, my friends, is no way to live. Disrespect also breeds resentment and anger. You start keeping score, holding on to past hurts, and waiting for the subsequent offense. It creates a wall of negativity that can be impossible to tear down. If disrespect is a recurring theme in your relationship, it's crucial to address it head-on. Don't let it fester and poison your relationship. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Let's face it, folks, conflict is a natural part of any relationship. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. However, some people believe a perfect relationship is without disagreements. And that, my friends, is a recipe for disaster. Avoiding conflict doesn't make it go away. It often makes it worse. When you sweep issues under the rug, they can fester and grow more extensive over time. Think of it like a pressure cooker. You keep adding pressure, but you never release it. Eventually something has to give. And when it does, it's not going to be pretty. Avoiding conflict can also signify deeper issues like fear of intimacy, difficulty communicating, or a lack of trust. If you're constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to rock the boat, you're not truly connecting with your partner. Now, I'm not saying you need to pick fights with your partner every chance you get, but it's essential to learn how to address conflict healthily and constructively. That means communicating your needs and feelings openly and honestly without fear of judgment or retaliation. It's about listening to your partner's perspective, even if you disagree, and trying to find a compromise that works for both of you. And sometimes that means agreeing to disagree. Remember, conflict can be an opportunity for growth. It allows you to understand each other better, strengthen your bond, and build a more fulfilling relationship. So, don't be afraid to speak your mind, folks. It's better to address issues head-on than to let them fester and poison your relationship. Tell me something. Reliability is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. It's about being there for your partner, keeping your promises, and following through on your commitments. It's about showing up physically and emotionally when you're needed. When someone is unreliable, it creates a sense of uncertainty and insecurity in the relationship. You never know if you can count on them, which can be incredibly damaging. It's like building a house on a foundation of sand. It might look stable on the surface, but it's only a matter of time before it all comes crashing down. Unreliability can manifest in many ways. It could be constantly canceling plans at the last minute, forgetting important dates, or failing to follow through on promises. It's about saying one thing and doing another. Now, being unreliable might seem like a small thing, but let me tell you, it can have a significant impact on a relationship. When someone consistently lets you down, it erodes your trust and makes you question their commitment. It can also lead to feelings of resentment, anger, and hurt. You start to feel like you're not a priority, and that your needs are not being met, and that, my friends, is a recipe for disaster. If you're in a relationship with someone unreliable, it's essential to address the issue head-on. Talk to them about how their behavior affects you, and set clear boundaries. Remember, you deserve to be with someone who is there for you, someone you can count on. Don't settle for anything less. You know, folks, relationships are a two-way street. You're supposed to be there for each other, to be each other's biggest cheerleaders. When you hit a rough patch, you need someone to lean on, someone who will offer a shoulder to cry on and tell you everything will be all right. But what happens when that support is missing, when you're going through a tough time and your partner is nowhere to be found? That's a problem. Feeling emotionally isolated in a relationship can be incredibly damaging. It's like being stranded in the ocean with no lifeboat in sight. Listen, we all need emotional support, especially from our partners. It's about feeling seen, heard, and understood. And when that's lacking, it can create a vast chasm in the relationship. You start to feel alone, like you can't rely on the one person you thought you could. That's not how a healthy relationship should feel. And it's not just about emotional support, folks. Practical support matters too. Life throws curveballs, right? You might lose your job, face a family crisis, or need help with everyday tasks. And in those moments, you need your partner to step up, to be present and offer a helping hand. I'm not saying your partner needs to solve all your problems, but they should be there to share the load, to offer practical support when you need it most. It's about teamwork, about tackling life's challenges together. When you constantly carry the world's weight on your shoulders, resentment can build up. You start to feel like you're more of a caretaker than a partner, and that's a recipe for disaster. Look, relationships thrive on balance. It's about give and take. Both partners need to feel supported, both emotionally and practically. If you're constantly giving and getting nothing in return, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and heartache. We all have dreams, aspirations, and goals for the future. It's what gives our lives meaning and purpose. And when you're in a relationship, it's vital that those dreams are aligned, or at least compatible. Because let me tell you something, folks, if you row in opposite directions, you won't get very far. Imagine one partner dreams of settling down and starting a family. Meanwhile, the other craves a life of travel and adventure. Or maybe one aspires to climb the corporate ladder. Meanwhile, the other yearns for a simpler life. These fundamental differences can create a tremendous amount of tension and conflict. You see, when your life goals are at odds, it's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work. You might try to compromise to make things work for a while, but eventually those unfulfilled dreams and desires will resurface, leading to resentment, frustration, and ultimately a breakdown of the relationship. Now, I'm not saying that you need to have identical goals to make a relationship work, but you must be on the same page to have a shared vision for the future, and that requires open and honest communication. It would be best if you talked about your hopes, your dreams, your fears. What are your non-negotiables? What are you willing to compromise on? These are tough conversations, no doubt about it, but they're essential for building a solid and lasting relationship. Remember, folks, relationships are a journey, not a destination, and like any journey, you need a roadmap. Talking about your future goals is like creating that roadmap together. It allows you to navigate the twists and turns of life as a team, to support each other's aspirations, and to build a future that's both fulfilling and meaningful. Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground in this video. We've talked about some of the most significant relationship red flags. Remember, these red flags are warning signs. Trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Recognizing these red flags early can save you from heartache. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content.